All right, here we go. Welcome everybody to Pardon the Disruption, a part of a Future Ready virtual summit for tech leaders. Adam, let's talk a little bit about everyone's favorite topic, data leakage. Are you suffering from any data incontinence in your district, Adam?
Of course, we have some incontinence issues in my district. And the biggest problem we have with our data leakage, is our people. The people are the reason why we're leaking information. They're sharing way too much with far too many people, and they don't know who they're dealing with as they're sharing their stuff. Leakage is a problem. People have to understand you wouldn't let anyone hop in your account in your ATM. So why are you letting everybody hop into every account that you have in your system? I don't know. What about you, Carl?
For me, it's all about the two-factor authentication, which is a definitely, I would say, the first step in solving some of these problems. We tested it out with our administration, and we're surprised at how much pushback we got just trying to enable two-factor authentication. And we thought, if we're going to have this kind of pushback with our administration, I can only imagine what's going to happen when we push it out to 700 or 800 teachers. So I think for us, that was kind of our first step along the way. The other thing I'll say is, we had a student once hack our SIS. I'll go ahead and admit it. Luckily, this student was very forthcoming, came to us and said, hey, I'm going to hack your SIS. I said, really? He's an 8th grader? And I thought, well, challenge accepted. No, actually, I said, listen, we're going to spin up a dummy server. We want you to go ahead and hack it. But I want you to tell me how all the different ways you hacked it. And it turned out it was the simplest way. He went to a couple of teachers and basically said, looked at their laptops, and guess what he saw on their laptops?
Their passwords?
Yes, I could see it in the, some of you already showing, the sticky notes, the deadly sticky note. Yes, Liana, that kid is going places. So yeah, that's kind of my data leakage story, but I don't know that. I mean, I think you're right. It's a people problem. It definitely is a data security issue, but it also is a people problem, and that's something we're going to hit on a lot today as well.
Okay, so that's the bell. So the next one that we have here, biometrics. This is this thing where at first you had to put in your PIN code to unlock your phone. Now we have everything from your retina scan, your face detection, your thumbs. What are your thoughts on biometrics?
It's going to get interesting because there was a case recently. I remember it was a couple of years ago. I think it was in San Diego, where there was a person that was considered a domestic terrorist, and there was you remember that big lawsuit where I think they went to Apple and said, we want to unlock his phone. Like, do you take someone who is deceased and still use their face for facial recognition? It's going to be, part of me thinks, okay, this is going to help us in education because we're no longer going to have to worry about the password sticky notes. But then I can also see some clever kid, because kids are clever, figuring out a way to construct a mask maybe that looks like their teacher, and figuring out a way to get in, or just having a teacher put their finger on something and not realizing that they're actually unlocking something. So I do think it's going to help us with some of our data issues. But I think what are we giving up for that, I guess, is the other side of it. If I'm going full conspiracy theory tinfoil hat, what are we giving up when we're giving away all of our biometrics? What are your thoughts on it?
That's the thing that you own. I own my face. I own my fingerprints. Those are mine. But when you put biometrics into a system, it still has to be stored somewhere, right? So it's no longer just here. It's now in the system. It's in the matrix. So I think that's one of those pieces with data's privacy we don't necessarily think about. We do it. I mean, we unlock our phones. We unlock now you can unlock apps with your phone. So that data is stored somewhere. And just like my passcode could be hacked and taken, could my biometrics now be leaked out there? We were talking about data leakage earlier. That biometric information is in the system. It's in the matrix. Someone could take it now. What's going to happen to it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not asking the questions.
I mean, we're getting close to that era too of the deep fakes. There could be a moment, a future UnDisrupted episode where Adam and I look the exact same. I'll take Adam's face and make it mine, and then that would be really odd. We should try that though.
Yeah, I should get the facial hair because I can't grow any facial hair at all. That's my confession of the day.
Let's talk a little bit about words and words that matter. You and I, we've had some fun side conversations over the years, just kind of about the importance of words. And I know that there's a trend in education. If you guys have ever been, a lot of tech leaders here in the room with us today, virtually. So you're familiar with the term blacklist, whitelist. But Adam, I feel like I know, right? I feel like it's changing a little bit. What are your thoughts? Because I feel like there's now the term block list, allow list. I mean, what are your feelings again? And you and I have talked about this before. In some ways, you're a unicorn whenever we go to conferences, we'll look around the room and it's a lot of people that look a lot like me and not like you. So what does this mean to you in terms of words?
Yeah, it's one of those things where when you look at who came up with the rationale between blacklist and whitelist, but it's a deeper conversation. Even when you look at in movies and TV shows, the bad guy is always wearing what color?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, and it's just funny. Like, if you go back and watch the movie Frozen, this is like one of those things that I noticed when Hans, I think Hans, the guy who he's nice at the beginning, and Dad, spoiler alert, his whole color scheme changes when he turns evil and wants to kill Anna and Elsa. So the dark is considered bad. And so we have to kind of think about how we're kind of putting that in people's minds when we start talking about this. So words matter, imagery matters. And so let's make sure that we're thinking about what we should be using. Oh, yeah, there you go, Carl.
And Frank is just killing it in the chat. I know that a lot of you that are listening to this later aren't going to be able to hear it, but he basically just called me out because I'm wearing all black. So those of you that are watching the video, oh, and then there goes the hoodie, which is interesting
too. I'm a hacker now.
Yes, exactly. I was just about to say, when you think of the word hacker, the first image that pops in your head is someone wearing, it's a dark room, dark hoodie, matrixy type stuff on the screen. Like somehow they're figuring all that out. But no, I'll have to check out that movie. What did you call it? Was it Frozen? I'll have to check it out. I'm not familiar with it. Having three girls, actually, true story. I've never seen it. No conspiracy there.
I don't know how you pulled that off.
Okay, there's the bell, guys. We're going to the 1 minute rounds now. I think this is
your footprint. Yeah, social. I mean, like, you know, you don't wear small shoes, so but this is not that kind of footprint. Tell me about social media footprints.
So I had a really long discussion with a company recently about whether or not you should this should affect hiring practices specifically. 72% of colleges and companies are looking at social media footprints. What does that mean for our kids going into the future? And when I hired people, I would always look at their footprints. It could be good or bad. If they didn't have anything out there, it was kind of neutral. If they put some positive things out there, I thought it was a kind of a bump up for them. But of course, if they also are into, you know, you don't want to make stereotypes, but if they're into certain things that they're a little bit questionable morally, it calls into question their character. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I will sit in an interviewing candidates. I just hired 7 people this past summer, and I pulled up all their socials. I went in there, not social security numbers, social media profiles. I'm looking at everything that they've done, whether they've posted any content on YouTube. One, I'm just looking to see whether they would be a great addition based on their social media content, but also, could they be an embarrassment to my department or my district moving forward? I mean, those are real things you have to think about.
Great call out in the chat too. You got to be careful about personal bias in this situation. Just because someone listens to a type of music doesn't necessarily make them good or bad person. It just may be their musical choice and preference. But speaking of social medias, I saw this the other day. Can I blow this up? Let me see if I can put this up full screen. Adam, explain to me about this photo, because this is awesome. And this it just exploded over the Facebooks.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, this was my mom. She is recently retired, so we all decided to get together. First time we've been together in like forever, and we got together, had a photographer take photos, and we decided to make everybody up in different colors for the children. We were all wearing red. The green is our spouses, and gold is our children. And posted it on my own Facebook page, and I made it public so my sisters and their spouses could share it. Next thing I know, it's been like reshared over like 15,000 times, liked 8,000 times, comments, and it's like all over the place, which is so crazy to me because that was not my intent. But now this picture is out there for everybody, to the tune of a couple of travel agencies co-opted the picture and decided to put it down there and said, let us plan your next family vacation. I'm like, dude, you didn't plan anything. This was me, my siblings, and Airbnb. You didn't plan nothing. But
so wait,
who owns
took
this
the photo and said that, and then they said it's like, this is what your next family vacation could look like?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I want some money off that. So I have a question for you. Like, so what happens? Like, who owns stuff when you put it out there on the interwebs? Like, whether it's Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or OnlyFans. You know, like, hey, you don't know me after hours. All right, so what happens?
Well, I can't speak to your OnlyFans account, but I can say this. I mean, I have definitely, I've definitely seen, and as educators, we know we like to borrow, I guess, for lack of a better word. So there's a lot of different things and quotes and stuff that I've seen attributed to multiple people at times. I've even seen, there's a couple of situations where I've had someone post something and other people have gotten back to me and said, Carl, didn't you say this the first time? I'm like, maybe I did. I don't even remember. but some of it's like flattery, and I understand it. But I think when it's done with I feel like education or just kind of sharing for good information, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, personally, I don't. However, in your case, where they're taking that photo and then using it to promote their own goods and services, we kind of crossed a line a little bit here. And I think what's happening is that people just aren't thinking of anything. Original thought is kind of out the door, which leads me to my next point. And that is, Taylor Swift just dropped her latest. Yes, guys, we're talking Taylor Swift now. This is getting serious. She dropped her latest album, I say, but it was a remake of her previous album. So my question for you, Adam, is this. Thinking about the world, everything's being redone. Remakes, redones. Ghostbusters is coming out. I mean, I guess it's kind of reimagined or later on down the line, so maybe that's not different. What about ed tech? What about an ed tech? What should we bring back in educational technology? Is there something that we need to bring back into our schools that's just missing? I'm sure people in the chat have some great ideas around this too. What do you propose?
We need to bring back the ditto machines.
Are you talking about the mimeograph, the ones with the really good smell?
Oh, yeah, my goodness. The smell. Yeah. They need to make that as a air freshener just for the back to school holidays or something. You
know what? We are talking a lot about self-care and mental health awareness, and I think in some ways that smell might help a few of us get through our school day. I was thinking. I remember the other. What was it? Palm Pilots. You remember Palm Pilots? Like that was like the original.
You could do your dibbles on it.
You could do your dibbles, right? You could do your little RI assessments, and it had a little pen, and you could write on it. We also had some shout outs for VHS and TVs on carts in the chat.
Oh, you know what? No, I got it. You remember those books that you would have the little thing like beep, and you'd have to turn to the next thing on there?
Oh, the little slideshow
video. Yeah. It's like
we had the little slides. Yes.
Yes, I remember those.
Some of those may still work. Yes. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh, nostalgia. But that was something that we had, but now our kids are following these people on the socials, on TikTok. I mean, you're famous for being famous. So like you have kids like I have kids. Are they into these TikTok folks?
I think they are. And I had an eye-opening moment this last weekend where I actually went to a mall with the kids, and this guy was walking in. He had like a red beanie hat and like a black t-shirt on and a bunch of tattoos. And he had about 8 people around him and a camera crew, and all these teenage girls were running around taking selfies. And I'm sitting there going, I have no idea who that is. In fact, I went up to him and I said, excuse me, who are you? And why do I care? Kind of thing. And his posse kind of pushed me back a little bit, which is kind of funny. My girls were like, stop it, Dad, you're embarrassing us. But I'm like, I've become that person. I'm like, I have no idea who these people are. And I tried to look this, I can't look him up because I tried to describe what he looks like, but I honestly don't know, man. Are your kids into this stuff too?
Yeah, they're into these YouTube stars where they're the reaction videos. Stuff. And here's the thing, though. I think somehow or another, as school systems, we have to figure out a way to capitalize on this TikTok trend and do more of these hacks on, hey, let me show you a study hack. Let me show you how to take care of your Chromebook hack. Let me show you how to update your iPad hack. Let me show you those things, because apparently if you put hack behind it and put it on TikTok, people will watch it.
That's our TikTok channel, man. It's you doing a hack and then me on the side over here going, oh my goodness, can you believe what he just did? Like reaction videos. Yeah, what? There's a good screenshot for somebody out there. But speaking about what we can else we can do in schools, unfortunately, when it came to the infrastructure bill that was just passed, I went and did some digging, Adam. I was like, what's the cut? What do we get in K-12 out of this thing? What do you see? Anything in there that looks good for us?
You know what? Here's the thing. As long as we can get the connectivity going into the homes, I think that will make life a whole lot easier. Finishing that, we keep calling it the last mile, the homework gap, all of those things. That's going to make things a whole lot smoother, because now technology is not just looked at something that we do in our K-12 space. It's an essential part of living. It's like heating and air. So if they're able to handle that the way they're saying they're going to handle it, I'm all for it. What about you?
I see Jim in the chat also mentions the Build Back Better bill. Say that 3 times fast. Includes $500 million for technologists for enforcement of the FTC. So there is definitely going to be some security provisions put in there. I think that's important as well. I do think, I was a little sad to see that they cut the $100 billion that they had originally line item out. I think November 5th they cut that out. That was supposed to be about upgrading school systems and even just like getting our roofs fixed and leaky buildings and mold and asbestos and stuff. Hopefully we'll get that in another bill down the road, but that was kind of sad for me. But the infrastructure part is exciting. So that connectivity, I think, is a big thing.
But like, you know, this when I see this slide, I want to play that song. I want to be rich. So you see teachers pay teachers, and they're becoming millionaires by selling like worksheets and things of that nature. I mean, do we have like tech directors pay tech directors or something? Like, you know, what? Yeah. Like teachers, who are we going to pay? I mean, is this legit? I mean, what are your thoughts on this? This is becoming a real thing.
It is. I think someone just made $2 million now. They just hit the 2 million mark, and I want to say over 164 teachers are now making over 50,000 a year just doing this as kind of a quote unquote side hustle. I actually know a teacher. I worked with a teacher for several years who's making pretty good money on this, and it definitely, teachers, I can't fault them. They're underpaid, they're overworked, and so if they're able to make a cute graphic that is saving some other teacher time and they're willing to spend $2 for that graphic, then kudos for them. My concern in terms of deeper thought with education is that all this is perpetuating the worksheet dilemma that we're running into, where it's just like, let's just make some more cute worksheets because it's quick and easy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my thing is, I don't have a problem with people capitalizing on their talents. If you have the talent, I mean, if you're really like the bomb at making keynote slides, Carl, go ahead, monetize that. But I do draw the line when if it's a teacher where it's something that can help your students and there's a teacher in your building that could benefit from it. And you're like, hey, I can give you this to help your kids, but you got to pay me first. You know, if that's what your hustle's turning into, then I think you've gone over to the dark side.
Yeah, I think that and I'm cracking up because in the chat, we just saw a couple of, Cynthia just mentioned like who owns it if they create it on school time and the school's equipment. And then we also see you just put a chevron and some of that Cupid font on it and it becomes immediately something big. Our Geek Wishlist, and I have no idea why the image still says superintendent. That was from last week's show. Adam, what are some gifts? What are you buying out there? What are geeks getting? I know we have to shop earlier because we have a lot of, backup when it comes to purchasing microchips and things like that. What are some geeky things you're looking to buy for you or your kids?
Like right now, apparently in my house, we're up for an iPad refresh. My daughter was like, Daddy, I can only go up to like 9.4.1 on my iPad. It's time for you to upgrade me. So I got to upgrade iPads this go around. But, Daddy really wants that new MacBook Pro with the M1 X Pro Max Supreme chip in it, and that's what I want. That's what I really want. What about you, Carl? What's on your wish list?
I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. Literally, while we're having this conversation, my phone just sent me an alert saying, here are some interesting items from Verizon that you may want to look at. So either my phone can hear everything I'm doing, which goes right into our topic today about data privacy, or I just have no idea what to buy. No, we searched high and wide for this OLED Nintendo Switch thing. I hope my kids won't watch this, I hope. But it's coming, we'll just say this holiday season. So hopefully my kids aren't listening to my podcast. Speaking of what's coming, guys, we're excited. We are ready. We got 1 minute to go here. We're about to launch the show. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Disruption. For those of you that are listening to this as a one-off podcast, of course, you're missing out on what's about to happen. But we have Jim and Dana joining us to give us both the kind of the high-level view of data privacy, but also the ground-level view of it on what we're doing in schools when it comes to data privacy. So we want to thank everyone for being a part of this opening segment called Pardon the Disruption. He's Adam, and you can follow him at AskAdam3.
And he's Carl, and you can follow him at Mr. Hooker. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are better together.
And we are better
Undisrupted.
What?
Yeah.